Okay, we're going to go ahead and reconvene from closed session. And we have two actions taken in closed session. Will be read by Clerk Marcia Milchiker.
Thank you. The actions are on a 6-0 vote with Trustee Padberg absent. The board approved an unpaid leave from January 7th, 2014 through June 1st, 2014 to a classified employee at Saddleback College. And on a 6-0 vote with Trustee Padberg absent, the board approved a general leave of absence without benefits from January 2nd, 2014 through May 23rd, 2014 to a classified employee at Saddleback College. And that's all the actions that are reportable.
Thank you. This time we will now stand, please, for the invocation and by Trustee Lang and followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Trustee Wright.
Yes. During this time of the year, I think it's particularly fitting to give thanks for the many blessings that we enjoy and ask blessings for those that are less fortunate than ourselves, that they may also partake in the many bounties and opportunities that this great nation has to offer. We especially want to give thanks for our men and women in all branches of the armed forces, that they will be protected in their service to our country, at home and abroad, as they help to protect our freedoms that we so enjoy. We thank those who also help protect and keep us safe at home for their dedication and service as well, our police men and women, fire men and women, and other public service who give their time, energies, and personal resources to keep us safe and represent us in their daily efforts. We ask that you help us to make wise decisions on behalf of the public that we serve, and that our motivations will be pure and honest. May this prove to be a happy holiday for one and all, and the hope that we will strive to be even better in the new year ahead. Amen.
As we face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, no resolutions. Commendations. We first have Saddleback College President Tod Burnett will be commending Deputy Chief of Police Jim Pyle, who is retiring after 35 years of service. Maybe. Sorry, you got another one. Why they gave you two.
Talk about a splash, huh? Well, we're very excited tonight. We have 3 commendations that to introduce to the board and to the public. First, I'd like to bring up Jim Pyle. Jim Pyle, as you know, he's our Deputy Chief of Police. He actually served as our interim chief before that. Jim has been with this district for 35 years, and he will be retiring in a few days. And we just wanted to come here real quick to thank and show our appreciation to Jim Pyle's phenomenal service and give the board an opportunity to wish your well wishes as well. Thank you, Jim.
Well, it's been a long haul, and I've enjoyed it. Not only am I an employee of Saddleback, but also alumnus of Saddleback, and so is my daughter, who had just graduated here a couple of years ago and now has graduated from UCSD. I think looking at the way she feels about Saddleback, she loves Saddleback. That's all she talks about. And she really feels that Saddleback gave her the foundation to get to where she was within the university. And she really appreciates, as I do, and I'm very proud to have worked here among some wonderful people and professional people. And I will miss it a little bit. Anyway, but anyhow, I really want to thank everybody for putting up for me and with me. And I'm very proud to be retired from such a fine institution. in district. Thank you very much.
You want a picture?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim.
And next.
We have two success stories at Saddleback that I'm very pleased to present. And first, if we could have our architectural program come up, led by our professor, Lem Chim, as well as Professor Blake Stevens. Trustees, I'm very excited to present to you some students that had just recently had top awards at the Orange County American Institute of Architects. Our students swept first, second, and third place honor awards at the Design Awards ceremony. Their projects focused on sustainable proposals for the now vacated Newport City Hall site. I'm pleased to introduce you the first place, and $1,000 went to Dylan Bakar. Dylan. Second place went to Jason Champlain, $750. Third place and $500 to Ann Rosen. And honorable mention and merit awards went to two of our Saddleback students, Syed Nazari and Christopher Graham. Congratulations. Congratulations to all of you, and we have some nice certificates up there for you. Picture? Oh, another picture. Or go and Fred. We're next going to recognize our journalism students, and equally impressive, on Saturday, October 12th, our Saddleback College journalism students of the Lariat newspaper and also our Orange Appeal magazine won top honors, including General Excellence for the LariatNews.com and the Orange Appeal magazine, and they won these at the Journalism Association of Community Colleges of Southern California, their regional conference at Cal State Fullerton. The students won 15 awards, including first place for magazine cover, magazine design, magazine article, newspaper infographic, and online photo essay. I'm pleased to introduce the professor over these two programs, Amara Aguilar. Amara, right there. Hi, Amara. And I'll go over the long list of these 15 awards. First, on the magazine side, for Orange Appeal, the magazine won the Magazine General Excellence Award, and that's for the overall Orange Appeal magazine. The magazine cover design, first place went to Katrina Andaya and Stephanie Bennett. One of them here? Nope. They won first place for the magazine design layout for the Orange Appeal staff. All the staff won that. For the magazine news feature, a non-profile, Katrina Andaya won first place. The magazine photo story essay, several students won fourth place, and an honorable mention, Joseph Espiritu and Chelsea Jarrell. And the newspaper side in our publication, the online journalism general excellence news, as I mentioned, LariatNews.com. First place went for informational graphic to Annabelle Santos. The online photo story essay went first place to Elizabeth Ortiz, Shirley Smith, and Peter Shaffron. All right. Third place went to the inside page layout for broadsheet, Annabelle Santos. And Annabelle Santos also received an honorable mention for editorial cartoon, and she also won third place for student design advertisement. We received for broadcast news writing, Kristen Wilcox received an honorable mention, and a feature story by Melanie Roberts. Congratulations. And finally, for a news story, honorable mention, Kaylee Johnston. Well, congratulations to you and the great work you do at Lariat and Orange Appeal. We're very proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Those are wonderful awards. Nice achievements. So at this time, we will adjourn the regular session temporarily while we then convene the annual organizational meeting and facilities corporation meeting. So we'll call that meeting to open and to order. First order of business is election of officers. We're electing president, vice president, and clerk, currently held by Trustee Padberg, Trustee Prendergast, and Trustee Milchiker in that order. So those positions are officially open for nomination. Trustee Lang.
Yes, I'd like to put into nomination, mind if I put a slate forward? I'm not sure if that's, or do you want to take them one at a time, Mr. President?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and do them one at a time.
Okay. I'd like to nominate T.J. Prendergast for office of president.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Anyone else? Hearing none, we'll go ahead. Do we go ahead and vote on that? I guess I accept that. Okay, we have 6 trustees voting yes. Motion carries with 1 trustee absent and 1 student advisory vote. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Little did I know I'd get to practice this
Are you
evening.
president henceforth at this meeting?
Yes,
I
absolutely.
think after we're done, and then we take a break and we come back and I'm president. Is the way I think it works. Okay. I'll pretend to know what I'm doing. Okay, so then we have a nomination for vice president. Mr. Wright, Trustee Wright.
I'd like to nominate Nancy Padberg.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for Trustee
Second.
Padberg. Any others? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and vote for Trustee Padberg as vice president. We have unanimous with 6 trustees for, 1 trustee absent, and 1 student advisory vote. So next we have clerk. I have Mr. Trustee Jemal.
Yes, I'd like to nominate Trustee Milchiker for the office of clerk.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
2 seconds. Perfect. Any others? All those, go ahead and vote. All those in favor of Trustee Milchiker as clerk, please vote. It is unanimous with 6 trustees, 1 absent trustee, and 1 student advisory vote. So that is the election of officers. Thank you very much. Next, we have appointment of secretary and assistant secretary. Current position holders, secretary is Chancellor Gary Portner, and the assistant secretary is Vice Chancellor Deborah Fitzsimmons. Okay,
No.
Trustee Lang recommends.
I'll second that then.
And second by Trustee Milchiker for retaining those positions for those individuals, assuming they still want them. We'll go ahead and vote for that. All those in favor, vote. We have 6 trustees voting yes, 1 absent, and 1 student advisory yes vote. Next, we have appointment of trustee representatives. The first position is representative to nominating committee to the Committee on School District Organization, currently held by myself and alternate of Trustee Jemal. Then we have district political action rep to OCSBA, currently held by Trustee Wright. Representative to the Orange County Legislative Task Force, currently held by Trustee Milchiker and alternate Trustee Lang. Representatives to South Orange County Community College District Audit Committee. Current chair is Trustee Lang. Representative number 1 is Trustee Jemal. Representative 2, Trustee Padberg. Any changes?
Can we
going to
move all
occur?
of those together? I so move if that's the case.
Well, is there anybody? Let's take them one at a time to see if
Okay.
there's anyone that like wants to get out of something, or like, I don't know, me. See if somebody else wants to do those positions, and anybody doesn't, or any positions that aren't filled, we'll just give them to Trustee Padberg because she's not here.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
No, okay, we can't do that. All right. So let's take them one at a time. So the nominating committee, I only listed them all at once so that people kind of knew that they were spread out. So nominating committee to the Committee on School District Organization, as I said, I'm currently in that position. You basically attend the Orange County School Board Association meeting.
So move.
They'll send you information if you want to nominate people, and then you bring it to the board and so forth.
Second.
Me?
You already moved it.
Oh, you're moving me again? Okay. Nobody else really wants to do that, huh?
You're good at it.
Okay. I guess I'll accept that. And then we'll need an alternate. Trustee Jemal is the alternate currently, so he's going to do it to me. I'll do it back to him. So,
Okay,
all right. Do I have a second?
second.
All right. All those in favor, say, please vote. I'm used to saying aye at meetings. Okay, we have 6 trustees voting yes, 1 trustee absent, 1 student advisory yes vote. So the next we have the district's political action rep to OCSBA, currently trustee Wright.
Yeah, I nominate trustee Wright again.
Still want to do it? All right. Give you first right of refusal.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead and vote, please. We have 6 trustees voting yes, 1 trustee absent, and 1 student advisory vote yes. Next, we have Representative to Orange County Legislative Task Force, Trustee Milchiker with alternate Trustee Lang.
I move that Trustee Milchiker and alternate, well,
Okay.
Anybody?
maybe,
I don't know. Do you want to?
let me hold my motion in abeyance for a second.
We're good there? You still want to do it?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay. You still okay? All right.
So, reaffirm
We
my
have a
motion
motion.
as Trustee Milchiker to
second.
serve and Trustee Lang alternate.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. Let's go ahead and vote. We have 6 yes, 1 absent trustee, and 1 student advisory yes vote. Okay, last one. Representatives to South Orange County Community College District Audit Committee, currently chaired by Trustee Lang, Representative Trustee Jemal, and Representative number 2, Trustee Padberg.
So moved.
Yeah, I'm
Keeping
nominate
it
same thing.
moved and seconded.
What?
All right, we'll go ahead and vote. And we have 6 yes votes, 1 absent, and 1 student advisory yes vote. Next, we have establishment of regular meeting dates and times. You have a copy of the board calendar with the revisions that we kind of all had a chance to look at. Any other changes, or do I have a motion to adopt that calendar?
Second.
Motion and a second to adopt that calendar. Hopefully everyone's had an opportunity to look at it in advance. All right, we'll go ahead and vote.
Why is it not coming up here?
We have 6 yes votes, 1 absent, 1 student advisory yes vote. So now we know the calendar. Lock them in your phones. Okay, next we have the planning calendar. You've got replacement pages with the changes made in red. So it has been revised. We have a motion and a second. Trustee Lang and Trustee Wright. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and vote. 6 yes votes, 1 trustee absent, 1 student advisory yes vote. Next, we have the agenda format. You have the copy of the agenda format. Just to point out publicly, 1 change in the agenda from the past. Based on past events where there were public comments and then no one really ever finds out what the issue was or whether it was dealt by the district or what have you, we're going to, from this point forward, if this is approved, have the opportunity for staff to comment back on what the actions were on those public comments. So it's not just left hanging out there and the public doesn't know what was done. So that's report 7.1 now. And hopefully that'll be better served for the public and anyone who makes those comments and wants to know what happened. There was one other recommendation I would like to make, if I can get, I don't know if I can make a motion as chair, but if I can get somebody to make a motion, to kind of honor the time of our student trustees who often have class. And it's been my observation over 3 years as they come here, they're at the beginning of the meeting, they're diligently listening, and then come time to 8.0 and the reports at the end, and they're gone because they had to go to class or what have you, or study. So maybe to honor their time, I'd like to propose a change to the agenda where they're right after the president's reports at the beginning of the meeting, where it would say 3.0, they'd be so they'd be item D before board requests for reports. So it'd be 3.1D, and then board requests for reports would be 3.1E.
I'll move that.
I have a motion from Trustee Jay. Do I have a second?
Second?
Okay. Discussion? Trustee Lang.
I guess my only concern on this is that certainly they are representing their constituent groups. I think that comes with a certain responsibility in terms of attending the board meetings and taking information back to their constituents regarding what happens at the full board meeting, not just really coming and showing up and delivering comments, but also actively participating. So
Absolutely. So you're on.
Bob Misabai here. I'm the Associate Student Government President for Saddleback College. I would highly recommend that motion because as a student it is tough, especially during finals this week, to make these meetings. And also that we can always reflect back on what actions were taken at the meetings through other meetings on campus, but also through the minutes online. So we do have access to that, so we do take advantage of those.
So kind of to follow up on what Trustee Lang is getting at here, you don't see it as kind of shirking your responsibility as elected by, as a representative of the students. Is it fair to say that maybe it's more you feel it's important to give us information than it is to get information from us because you can get that from the electronic means?
Correct.
Okay.
I had a question. So, does it have to be? Do we have to move an agenda formatting change, or can it be like, for instance, finals week? Can he make the request to appear earlier in the agenda during a specific board meeting session?
Chancellor?
We can always move that.
Right. So, yes, that could be done. Any other discussion? Okay, we'll go ahead and vote. Okay, we have 5 yes, 1 abstention, 1 absent, 1 yes student advisory vote. Thank you very much. From there, we have, we'll adjourn this organizational meeting. So that's over. We return back to the regular meeting. And then we have a special meeting, sorry. Now we have another special meeting, is the Facilities Corporation of South Orange County Community College District. The current officers, board of directors, is us, the Board of Trustees, all of us. The president of that Facilities Corporation currently is Trustee Padberg. The vice president is currently myself. Secretary is currently Trustee Milchiker. Chief Financial Officer is currently Vice Chancellor Deborah Fitzsimmons. Assistant Secretary is Chancellor Gary Portner. And Assistant Treasurer is also Vice Chancellor Deborah Fitzsimmons. So it looks like the Facilities Corporation kind of matches the board, so we would probably need a switch in a couple of the positions based on the new reorganization of the board.
Yeah, so I'd like to make a motion to have the Facilities Corporation Director match the Board of Trustees. In other words, you'd be president, Nancy would be vice president, and I'd be, I don't know if I can nominate myself, but secretary, and Deborah Fitzsimmons would be the financial director.
Okay,
I'll second that.
so we have a second. Any other motions or discussion? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and vote. 6 yes votes, 1 absent, and 1 student advisory yes vote. So now that is adjourned. So we'll go ahead and break for about 10 minutes to rearrange names on the dais and
10 minutes
come back.
to
Well, yeah,
switch
10 minutes to
names?
switch 2 names, maybe 5.
Okay.
Oh, the voting system. They need time to do the voting system. So
Sometimes I like to take a picture.
All right.
Well, Nancy's
All right.
Oh, Nancy's not here.
We should hold that.
Yeah, we'll hold the photo off till next time. Short break. Seeing or hearing none, we'll go ahead and move then to reports. Start with board reports. Remember, you have 2 minutes each. And we'll go ahead and start with Trustee Jay.
It's music time. And,
Oh, you were already on.
It's what?
Your mic was already on, so now you need to turn it back
Is that
on.
on already? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay. I, for instance, went to a Feast of Lights, and the Winter Winds orchestra and musical numbers, and they were outstanding. I think a lot of people don't realize musical presentations are hundreds of hours or thousands of hours collectively that go into the production of those things. One I didn't make was the Christmas piano show, and I understand also it was very good. But anyway, that concludes my comments for the evening, Mr. President.
Thank you. Trustee Jemal.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today actually represents a year since I was sworn in to serve as a trustee, and it, without sounding cliche-ish, it is an honor. I think it's a really good district. The two colleges and ATEP are fabulous resources for our communities here, and it really is an honor to serve and to be the bridge and the liaison between all the communities that I know we represent. I still believe, as I believe when I ran for office, that community colleges are a second chance, provide an opportunity for a second chance. But education is changing. We can't be static. There are areas where we can grow and develop. One of my areas, as some of you know, is the area of relations with our employer community and developing opportunities for our students to thrive at the next level. Some of that requires transfer. Some of it requires job-related workforce development experience. And I think we're moving in the right direction in all areas, but we can't remain static. And I think that there's a committed board here, and I think the community, the faculty, the staff, the administrators are committed to make this a better institution, because we can do better. And I think we all know that. If we didn't think we'd do better, then there wouldn't be a need to constantly try to improve, and I think we're trying to do that. I attended, just back to some couple items, I did attend the nurses' pinning ceremony. It was fabulous, well done. And then the IVC Foundation board meeting, I attended my first one. There's work to be done, and we need the help of everyone on the campuses, particularly IVC, to take that foundation to the next level, because the resources are provided to the foundation benefit the programs and the students in particular. So that's my report, and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everybody.
Thank you. Trustee Milchiker.
First of all, congratulations, President Pendergast. I think you'll do a fine job as president, an excellent job. And congratulations, Trustee Jemal, for serving 1 year. It really is a good board, as kind of the dedication of the board is kind of exemplified when I went to the nurse pinning ceremony, and I found 6 trustees were there. And I've never seen that in all the years I've been a trustee, and I've been a trustee about a gazillion years. So, but anyway, the things Yeah, I said it. Nobody else said it. I can say it. So I attended the paramedic graduation, the nurse pinning ceremony, the Emeritus Institute Advisory Committee, and the Feast of Lights, and the holiday parties for the staff at both colleges, Irvine Valley College and Saddleback College. And the holidays are a time to reflect on what you're thankful for. And my passion always has been and always will be education. And I am thankful to have the opportunity to make a difference in the lives of over 42,000 students every semester. I mean, that is incredible. As well as we have 3,000 employees, and they're brilliant and hardworking, and these employees make all the difference in the lives now and in the future. These are our future leaders of the over 42,000 students we serve every year. It's an awesome responsibility, but we do it with spirit and elan. And have a wonderful holiday season. And I'm looking forward to seeing all of you in 2014. Thank you.
Thank you. I, like previous trustees, attended the Feast of Lights, Nurses Pinning, both Saddleback and IVC holiday gatherings, all well attended and very well done. We also today had our groundbreaking for the new science building. I won't talk too much more about it because I know Trustee Wright probably will. And then we had, obviously, congratulations to Officer Pyle for retirement. Hope to hear many good stories about what fun you have while you're doing that. And then, again, thank you all for the support on nomination and acceptance as president. Trustee Wright.
Thank you, President, and congratulations again to you and then to Nancy and also to Marcia for the other two positions. So congratulations. Again, I wanted to just say how delighted I was to be present at the Saddleback Sciences Building groundbreaking ceremony this afternoon. That was wonderful. We've needed that science building for a number of years. I guess the only thing that I missed was having Dr. Rich McCullough there. He was missed, so... but it was a wonderful event. I also attended the nurses' pinning ceremony, the celebrations at both IVC and Saddleback College, which were great events. It's always nice to go and to intermingle with faculty and classified staff and talk to a number of people. So they were wonderful events. Just a couple other things. I was privileged on the 4th of December to be on television to represent the district at the TV interviews at Channel 6 in Laguna Woods, and that was a wonderful. I could brag a little bit about our veteran services programs at both IVC and Saddleback, and also about some of the upcoming events. Just a couple other things real quick. I just wanted to thank Chancellor Portner for having an open house on Thursday night. And then finally, happy holidays to everybody. And the other thing, I want Nancy Padberg to get well very soon.
Trustee Lang.
Yes, thank you. I also wanted to congratulate all of the new board officers on their election to their posts. I know they'll do a great job over the coming year. Like Trustee Milchiker, I was also very impressed with the terrific turnout that we had for the nurses' pinning ceremony. It really is one of the most beautiful ceremonies I think that we have, at this college, and it's just a very moving ceremony. It was nice to see so many other representatives there. And with that, just want to wish everybody very happy holidays and best wishes for the new year. Thank you.
Student Trustee Robinson.
Yes, thank you. I wanted to start out by, again, congratulating the Saddleback Architecture and Journalism students on their achievement. And secondly, I wanted to highlight and have the board members give careful consideration to the issue of the student loan debit cards. This was recently written about in the Orange County Register, and other school districts are looking into the Hire One, the company Hire One, and the student debit card issue. Lastly, I'm excited at the prospect of IVC and Saddleback's application to the Pathway to Law School program because it really shows fantastic support and encouragement to students to excel. And lastly, I would like to wish everyone happy holidays. Thanks.
Thank you. Chancellor's report.
I have two comments I'd like to make. First, although she's not able to be here tonight, I'd like to recognize the work of Board President Nancy Padberg, who's been president now for the past 3 years. That happens to be the same amount of time that I've been in the role of chancellor. And it's been very good for me to have the kind of stability that Nancy brought to the job. And she did a good job of organizing the meetings, keeping them on track. She was a joy to work with. And I'm glad she's coming back, but she'll be in a different role. Secondly, I was just going to mention that a little over a week ago, I got a tip that there was a meeting going on in this very room, and that maybe I ought to go down there and see what's going on. And so I did. And there was a meeting between Saddleback College faculty and Saddleback College deans, and I believe the vice presidents were there. And they were talking about how could they have a better understanding of one another, get along better. This turned out to be the second meeting. There was a facilitator here working with them. It was the second meeting. The first one was last spring, and there was some consultants that came and interviewed and worked with faculty and deans to find out what are problems that need to be resolved. This is a joint project between the Saddleback College Academic Senate and the college president. And if you had sat here and watched that, you'd be really encouraged by the work that was going on and the spirit in the room. And it fits in great with the efforts we have to try to build better relationships.
Thank you. So next we have college presidents' reports.
Okay. Thank you, President Prendergast. Congratulations to you, and also congratulations to the rest of the board appointments that happened tonight. And also thank you to my esteemed colleague, Dr. Tod Burnett, for having me be a part of that groundbreaking. It was very special, and very much enjoyed doing that, and thank you for that opportunity to do that. A few things I wanted to mention. I'll try to stay within time here. Being this time of year, I wanted to highlight a couple of special programs that IVC participates in. One is Adopt a Family, and the college community contributes in support of local low-income families. And so far, over 6,500 families have been helped through this program, and we're expecting to help 250 families this holiday season. We also have a thing called the Angel Tree, which the Associated Student Government sponsors, and this program benefits the Boys and Girls Club of Tustin. And college staff come and pick a child's name from the tree and then provide a unwrapped gift specifically for them. The Performing Arts Center also held its own Toys for Tots program, and they collected toys in support of the Orange County Toys for Tots. Something you might have read, I think Trustee Padberg read about this, the OSI stove. Two IVC students, Zach Ho and Jeffrey Mangalam, developed a smokeless stove that's also lightweight and portable. And there's more to it than that, but I don't have time. But they'll be sending 200 of these stoves to Dadaab in Kenya, the world's largest refugee camp, to support them. And then our VPSS, Linda Fontanella, led a fundraising effort to provide holiday dinners for our student veterans. And they've assembled over 20 holiday dinners, complete full dinners, to support them. And if I can have just a quick second.
Sure.
I just received my 20-year pin, and it's actually 23 years in service, but no matter. But I would like to thank the Board of Trustees for allowing me to be a part of this excellent district. It's truly gratifying to experience our two fine colleges and district services working together like never before, and to be a part of an excellent executive team with the Chancellor dedicated to collaboration and mutual respect. And happy holidays.
Thank you.
Yep.
President Tod Burnett.
Thank you, Mr. President, and congratulations to Trustee Padberg and Milchiker and the rest of you in your assignments for the coming year. We look forward to working with you. This is finals weeks, folks. We're going to say goodbye to fall semester 2013, and already we're we're all planning and ready for and gearing up for the new semester, spring semester, and the first semester of 2014. With that, as I've been talking to a lot of folks, and certainly my team, and I think all of us in the district know that this next spring is going to be a very busy spring semester. We have many major efforts that we're working on. Most of you know that we're going to be finishing up our strategic plan, not only for our colleges, but also for our district. We are going to be implementing and going further, even further, on many of our college-wide student success efforts, enrollment management, economic and workforce development, and just many, many, many other efforts. And I just want to take this opportunity that this last semester was extremely productive at Saddleback, and wanted to once again thank our faculty, our staff, our students, and administrators and managers, and all of our relationships and partners, starting with the board, our chancellor, and everybody, on just a very effective semester, and we're looking forward to the spring semester. Well, that begins, folks, with Flex Week. That's already on Tuesday, January 14th, and of course you've received the agenda, and we invite you to attend all the wonderful events, and then classes start on the following Tuesday on the 21st, as we look forward. So with that said, happy holidays, happy New Year, and we'll see you in 2014.
Very well. We do not have any discussion items, and I do need to make a point. The new agenda doesn't start until next month, so the student trustee or the student representative will have to wait this night. Anyway, so then next we have the consent calendars. Do I have any pulls?
5-9.
5.9. Any others? I would like. Okay, go ahead.
I'd like to pull 5.2.
Okay, and I personally would like to pull 5.4. Any others?
Move approval of the balance of the consent calendar.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. So voting on the remainder of the consent calendar minus the 3 pulls. So we have 6 trustees voting yes, 1 trustee absent, 1 student advisory yes vote. Okay, we'll start with 5.2 from Trustee Wright.
This is an item that I was concerned because I just thought that was quite a large sum of money, in which it had gone from 5,000 up to 95,000. So, reason why, I guess.
Yes. What I'd like to do is ask my Vice President for Student Services, Linda Fontanella, to come to the podium. She has explained it to me, and she does have a very good explanation for that.
Thank you.
Good evening, trustees, and thank you for asking that question. We thought that might come up. Our DSPS services for our deaf students has increased phenomenally over the last couple of years. Our program has gone from serving 450 students to almost 1,000 students. Each year, we don't have an idea of how many deaf students we're actually going to have into the program until they start up. Prior to, I believe it was Vice Chancellor Fitzsimmons' arrival, Goodwill Industries provided us services for the interpreters, but we didn't have a contract. And our program staff would normally estimate about $5,000 to $10,000 in budgets. But over the last couple of years, we've seen that grow tenfold almost. We've gone from having 2 deaf students in our program to 14 deaf students. And each of these students require, depending on if they're full-time or part-time students, assistance for all of their classes, oftentimes 2 interpreters in one class, depending on how long the class lasts. So it is actually been an underestimation of what these services have cost us. Now we have what we feel is a much better estimation, and don't blame you for asking the question because it is a much larger sum than we had originally had on our estimation.
One final question. Do you have a sign language program at IBC? I know Saddleback does.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Okay, I have a request from Trustee Lang to speak.
Yes, I guess what maybe confused me about this item, although I didn't pull it, it was why we wouldn't contract with them on an as-needed type of basis. I know we've got a contract for a not-to-exceed amount, but it seemed like it would make more sense to use the services as we need them rather than establish, as I read the contract here, a set contract amount that provides for this limit. So maybe you could just address that.
I actually agree with you, Trustee Lang, and staff and I have had that conversation. Because the amount seems to be increasing annually, and we have to keep coming back and increasing that, I think it's a good idea that we do look at that.
Might I say something, though? We're hitting close to the $100,000 contract authorization mark, which is why we felt it was important to have a not to exceed, because anything over $100,000 requires approval.
Okay, so
Board approval.
already from the period from
Yes.
July 1st, 2013 to date, we're near the limit on the contract?
Not to date, but it's estimated that it will be by the end of the fiscal year. So rather than have to bring it after the fact or when it's really going to hit, it was so it's always best to have a not to exceed amount on contracts, especially if they're going to be close to the $100,000 mark.
But it sounds to me like you're telling me that that we will exceed that amount, and so that it would come back to the board, no?
What I'm saying is having a not to exceed it, I believe it's 95,000, will stop the purchasing requisition process, and when it gets close, we have sort of a tracking mechanism to make sure that if it does need to come to the board for further modifications, we will do that. If you have no not to exceed on it, it's easy to fall through the cracks.
Okay, so you're convinced that we won't be expending excess funds?
Not without board approval.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay. Seeing no other requests to speak.
Move approval.
All right, we have a motion to approve and a second. Go ahead and vote on the item. 6 yes votes, 1 trustee absent, 1 student advisory yes vote. 5.4, I just had several questions on, having been involved with this, and I don't necessarily really want to put somebody on the spot and grill them, but there wasn't very much information on this, so I guess I'll start with, is this for athletic events? Are these vans for use on athletic events? Or
We're
what
going
are
to
they
have
for?
Randy DeLana, who did the bid, to come up and speak on this one.
Great.
Hello, yes, they are used for athletic events.
Okay. Maybe you could give us a little presentation, more information, or I can just ask these questions one at a time. Which would you rather prefer?
I'd prefer the questions.
Okay. So these are for athletic events, and so my assumption is the coaches, because they have more than 11 passengers, do they need a special driver's license? I think a chauffeur's license?
I don't know the answer to that question. I
Okay.
buy the vans, but I don't regulate the operation.
Okay.
Maybe the president or Carol could help me.
Yes, good evening, President Prendergast. Yes, actually, if there's 11 or more, you do need a Class 2 license. And so that would be required. We also have some 10-passenger vans that don't require that license. So we do have a combination.
So that I assume that license costs money. Is that on the coach to get that, and do they get reimbursed? Is that additional cost that's going to come out of this?
To be honest, I don't know the specifics. That's covered in the transportation department, but I can certainly check on that.
Okay, and then the obvious would be insurance on them. Is that included in this amount?
Yes, well, they're covered through the district insurance, but because what they have to do through our transportation department is submit the correct paperwork, and so they're actually vetted before they drive the vans, and then they're covered under district insurance.
Got it. And then I guess my other question, are these additional vans to existing ones that need replacing, or is this a whole new fleet? What, again, not a lot of information in the board.
No, we have a fleet of passenger vans because they're not just used for athletic, they're also used for a lot of field trips in the sciences, etc. And so we try to keep the better vans for the longer distances for the safety of our students and staff. And so it's really more of a vehicle replacement plan. And so we're not increasing the size of the pool. We're trying to keep the vans current and safe. And we have kind of a replacement plan. And actually 2 of these vans were funded last year and 2 this year. But it just took a while to get the bid through, so that there's actually 4 gone through on the bid at once.
Okay. And I think that's all I have. Anybody else have any questions on this item?
No, move approval. I don't know, has there been a motion for approval yet?
There has not been, no.
I'll move.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Go ahead and vote on that. We have 6 yes votes, 1 absent, and 1 student advisory yes vote. The next one was 5.9. Trustee Lang.
Thank you. Yes, the reason I pulled 5.9 was I was having a little bit of sticker shock as I went through this agenda item in focusing on the difference between the project value and the escalated value. Are these, and I didn't cross-check, but are these all projects in which we have already allocated basic aid for? Also, while I didn't bang on my 10 key to figure out what the actual difference was, maybe somebody else has and can share that information with the group.
Okay. So with regards to your question of whether or not they've all been funded by basic aid, not at this time. The new Life Sciences building has been funded and is nearing construction. Barranca has been funded.
I'm sorry, what can you mention the numbers as you're going through the?
Oh, absolutely. The new Life Sciences building was funded with an escalated value of $21,119,000. I hope thousands is close enough instead of the hundreds. Sure. The new Barranca Parkway campus entrance is $2.2 million, and that has been funded. The ATEP swing space building is the one that's being proposed this evening, and a budget has not yet been identified for that project. The renovation of the A400 building has been funded using basic aid dollars, $11.5 million. And then the Renovate A200 project is the first project in the series of the remaining that has not yet been funded using basic aid.
Okay, so we have funded these at the escalated value amounts that you've indicated.
So with regard to your question about escalation, when we first budget for a project, we budget maybe 4 or 5 years in advance of the actual construction. And so we use a 3% escalation annually, and so however many years from the original budget to the midpoint of construction is 3% times that many years, and that's the difference in those two prices.
Okay, so you've actually just estimated it out using a metric that you've developed.
Yes.
But those aren't necessarily then what it's going to cost.
As you can see in the last, say, 5 or 6 years, the escalation of construction has fluctuated wildly. In 2007, 2008, it went flat, and then construction started picking up a little, and so we're seeing 2%, and we get to 10, 11, and it went out the sky because construction started getting a lot busier. It went into 6 and 7%. So we use 3% as kind of a way to deal with that sine curve.
Okay. So the motivation, I think, is that we get these done sooner rather than later.
Well, as best we can with the resources that we have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Move approval.
All right, we have a motion from.
One quick question.
Okay.
This, no budget yet for the swing space. Any guess as to how much that's going to be? About the same as it was projected to be for the one right above it?
No, the one above it was a different building. That was a 30,000 square foot building that would have been developed over at ATEP and is projected for a later time.
Okay.
This building is to address the facilities that are currently on site over at ATEP. So we have 5 buildings over there that were originally identified as temporary buildings. And when we performed the land exchange with the city of Tustin, they acquired the ownership of those buildings. And in that process then, we leased them for 3 years. So we need to figure out what to do with the functions over at that ATEP facility within this 3-year period. And that's a very short time frame within which to develop a new set of buildings. And that's why this is coming onto the Education and Facilities Master Plan as an interim instead of waiting for the next cycle.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I had a motion.
Move approval.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Second. Go ahead and vote. 6 yes votes, 1 trustee absent, 1 student advisory yes vote. Motion carries. So that's the consent calendar. We'll now move on to general action items. We'll start with 6.1, Irvine Valley College, resolution to support Irvine Valley College application for community college pathway to law school initiative. Who's presenting this? Or is there a presentation?
There really isn't a presentation, but I can talk a little bit about it, and if I get buried, my vice president for instruction here can pick that up. Basically, any college, it was originally districts, but now any college can apply for this program. It's intended to pick up students as juniors and seniors in high school, have them be a part of the program at that level. They move on then to the community college for 2 years. And having done that with the correct curriculum in place, there are agreements for at least 4 law schools right now, UCI being one of them, and I think UCLA is another. Todd, do you remember the other 2?
I don't know, but we have people
Yeah. Then they will have automatic admission to those law schools for another 3 years. And there are certain demographics and whatnot that this program is attending to. Underserved students is one of the focus there. So there'll be 20 of these given out statewide, and both colleges are applying for it. And if we both get it, we're going to be that much better off. So yours is coming up next.
Yeah, I guess we can go ahead and jump to yours.
Yeah, I would ditto everything that President Rockmore said. We're extremely excited. And just real quick, what are the other 2 colleges?
Yeah.
Law schools?
The other 2 universities, we have UCI, UC Davis, Santa Clara, and USC. And I would like to make a small addition, if I may. The pathway to law school is called 2+2+3. It is 2 years at community college, 2 years at the 4-year university, and 3 years at the law school. So it creates a guaranteed admission to the university, and then subsequently that university's affiliated law school. And the pathway is supported by a 9-course curriculum within the community college. All the courses articulate to the next level university. So that's the name of the program, the 2+2 at the university, +3 at the law school.
Okay, so since I didn't have you go to the mic, for the television and for the record, it's really called 2+2+3.
Right.
Guaranteed admission into the university for the 2 years, then guaranteed admission into the law school for 3 years.
Correct.
The institutions you named off are UCI, UC Davis, Santa Clara,
and USC.
My mistake, and USC. Okay. I think I covered it all. So let's go ahead and we all signed the resolution on this already. Do we need a vote on this?
Oh, yes, we need to vote.
We do need to vote. All right. So do we need a motion?
Yes.
We do need a motion.
Move approval.
Okay, a motion from Trustee Milchiker.
Second.
Second from Trustee Jemal. And then Trustee Wright, you had a question.
One question I have, don't they have to take the exam to get into law school and pass that?
OSAT.
Yes,
Yes.
please.
Yes.
Thank you.
The LSAT.
The LSAT.
OSAT, yeah.
So it's not automatic admission. I mean, it's 2+2+.
They have to meet.
Plus LSAT.
2+2+3 and a test.
The bar.
Yes. Go ahead and introduce yourselves, please. And
I'm Emily Quinlan. I'm an associate faculty member here at Saddleback College.
Patricia Goldberg, full-time faculty, Saddleback College.
thank you.
To address your question, Trustee Wright, yes, the students are required to take the LSAT,
Right.
and each of those universities and law schools which we've identified have varying minimum LSAT scores, and part of the Pathway Initiative, which is being sponsored by the State Bar of California, offers the students LSAT preparation support so that they would be able to meet the minimum LSAT score of those various law schools. And it's a really important component of the State Bar offering of assistance, and it continues after they leave the community college and while they're attending the university in total preparation. It is a 10-year pilot program, and so the
support of the school, the State Bar, and the supporting universities is continuous and very thorough.
Right. And my final question, is there a need for more attorneys?
Ironically, I'm going to defer to Professor Goldberg on that issue. We are both attorneys.
I know you are.
One of the goals of the program is to seek out diversity in the California State Bar. Right now we have 80% white males, and I love white males. I'm married to one. However, it is not consistent with the demographics in the state of California.
Okay.
And so the State Bar is reaching out and using the community colleges as a system to help students who might not consider the community college as a starting point for law school. And we are going to hold their hands and work with the counseling office and make sure they get all the support that they need. The only thing that's missing right now, and the State Bar has told us they're going to work on it, is financial support. And so we're going to work with the students with financial aid and hope that the community that's supporting our efforts to help diversity in the bar to get some support for our students. And so we're going to all work together to help these students.
Thank you, Patricia.
Yeah, I think I have to ditto the student trustees' comments earlier about how wonderful a program that sounds like it potentially could be, and shows that commitment to that moving on up in the transfer aspect. Trustee Lang.
Thank you.
Yes, I had a quick question here, and that is, have we had students over the years identify themselves as having an interest in, how has that manifested itself? Do we have clubs and so forth that students belong to and so forth? Obviously, we've identified a program potentially that we think, has value, but I'm just wondering about whether there's some sort of a groundswell of support among our students that are demanding this sort of education.
Well, I have personal experience, and I know Professor Goldberg does as well, that we have students often approach us while we're teaching our law classes that they express great interest in a career in law, but it seems unavailable to many students in community college finding a way to make that transition. And the State Bar has recognized the resource for law students that are in the community college system, and they somehow, and to use their words, leak out of the system from community college to law school. And so this is a support pathway. And I know myself as a former community college student who ultimately made her way to law school, that it is very real and really viable and an incredible opportunity for all of our students at IVC and at Saddleback.
Trustee Robinson.
Yes, I'd like to remind the board that we had a veteran, Jack Johnston, at the veteran ceremony who came from Saddleback and is now at UCI Law School. And I think he definitely exemplifies the opportunity that community colleges offer. And now he's at UCI, which is an excellent school. And I think that if we were able to encourage more students to do the same, I think it really would benefit everybody.
Perfect. Okay, so we'll go ahead and vote on 6.1. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And passes with 6 yes votes, 1 absent, and 1 student advisory yes vote. Got a motion to approve 6.2 from Trustee Lang.
Second that one too.
Second from Trustee Milchiker. Don't think we need to discuss it again, so we'll go ahead and vote on that. Passes with 6 yes votes, 1 trustee absent, 1 student advisory yes vote. Next, we have 6.3, Saddleback College Science Building Higher Construction Management Firm. Do I have a motion on that?
Second.
So I have a motion from Trustee Wright, second from Trustee Milchiker, and a request to speak from Trustee Lang.
Yes, I was just curious about this item as to whether, in fact, Kitchell, who we're planning on awarding this contract to, was in fact the low bidder on the contract? Or perhaps you can, if they weren't, speak to why we chose them over the other 5 folks that...
So these are professional services. They're construction managers, not general contractors. And so the way that we select a professional service is we evaluate the qualities of the firm first and select who we believe to be the best firm for the position. After that selection has been made, then we review their the value of the services that they've provided to us and determine if they're within a range that's reasonable to us. And it's not a comparative analysis at that point, although we do have an understanding of where the costs lie. We don't evaluate it based on lowest dollar value.
So the answer is they weren't the lowest bidder.
Hold on.
I don't have that information in front of me, and I don't recall that. So I can't tell you that answer, but I'd be happy to get it to you because I have that information available to me.
Have we used this firm before?
No, this is the first time we're using them.
Anybody else? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and vote on the item. 6 yes votes, 1 trustee absent, 1 student advisory yes vote. Next is 6.4, board policy revisions. This is for discussion and approval. Do I have a motion?
Move approval.
I have a motion from trustee Jemal, second from trustee Wright. Any requests to speak? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and vote on the item. Trustee Jemal.
Oh, thought I voted.
Okay, we have 6 yes votes, 1 trustee absent, 1 student advisory yes vote. Next, we have 6.5.
Move approval.
Second.
Trustee Lang motion, second from trustee Wright. Authorization of payment to trustee absent from board meeting. Seeing no request to speak, we'll go ahead and vote. Everyone's voted except for, there we go. So we have 5 yes votes, 1 abstention, 1 trustee absent, and 1 student advisory yes vote. Next we have 6.6, academic personnel actions, regular items. Is there any presentation or information on this? No changes. Okay, do I have a motion?
Move approval.
Motion from trustee Lang, second from trustee Jay. Seeing no request to speak, we'll vote on the item.
I'd like to vote.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oops, okay.
Clear that.
I just had one quick question and comment. The authorization to temporarily increase the span of control. I'm very concerned about this. That's a lot of work to...
I'm sorry, what item, Jim?
It's item D. It's on page 3 of 4, authorization to temporarily increase span of control for an acting dean of business science, economic and workforce development, and an acting dean of advanced technology and applied science. I'm very concerned. That's a lot of work. I know. Just a question that the reason for that.
Well, first, the reason for it is that we have other personnel considerations. As you know, it's possible that in January we're actually expecting Dean Rocky Safoni to be back. So this is just in anticipation just until that time. So that's first off. Second is we removed the economic and workforce development activities from the business sciences for now. So those are those direct responsibilities. So it eases up that to be able to allow acting Dean Tony Tang to be able to handle both operations. And with that said, actually, and you probably recall your division was larger than this combined division would be. In fact, it would only be the 4th largest division at Saddleback College on a combined basis. But I agree with you. I think all of our deans, particularly at Saddleback and IVC, have a big job to do.
Yeah.
And it is a large job.
Yeah, what worries me again is I know how many full-time faculty you have, and ATASC is about 19, and business science about 12 to 14, but it's the number of programs you have, too. It's advanced technology, 19 different programs, business science, a number of different, it's a mammoth job.
It's big. We agree.
Okay.
Okay. Seeing no other requests to speak, we'll go ahead and vote on the item. We have 5 yes votes, 1 no, 1 absent, and 1 student advisory yes vote. Motion carries. 6.7, classified personnel action items. Do I have a motion on this item?
I'll move.
A motion from Trustee Jay,
Second.
second from Trustee Jemal. Any requests to speak? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and vote on the item. Passes with 6 yes votes, 1 trustee absent, 1 student advisory yes vote. So now we're on to reports. 7.1, Saddleback College and Irvine Valley College, report on financial aid. I'm good there. Just a presentation, right? 7.2, Saddleback College, Irvine Valley College, report on campus security cameras, requested by Trustee Jemal. So we need to go back to 7.1. Do we have a presentation on that?
Yes.
It's the...
Yes.
Yeah.
We have with us here tonight for representing Saddleback College, our Director of Financial Assistance, Christian Alvarado, and he's here, along with...
Yes, we have Dr. Linda Fontanella, Vice President of Student Services, joining them.
So this is dealing with the request on the higher one from Trustee Milchiker.
That's the request. I requested to be brought forward.
Okay.
Good afternoon. Good evening again. We understood this to be just a written report for the financial aid hire one. We did not come prepared to do a PowerPoint presentation. Is that correct? But we would be available to answer any questions you might have.
Sure. Does anybody have any questions on the report?
Yeah. So there's no report. You just want questions? Is that it?
We submitted a written report that's in your packet.
Okay. Right. Okay. I really thought there was going to be a presentation. That's what was my understanding. Okay.
I apologize.
Okay. I was brought this forward because I was somewhat concerned because we actually now we actually give all the financial aid monies to our students by using the company Hire One. That's a company that comes out of New Haven, Connecticut. I guess 2 former students from Yale actually founded the company. I was concerned for a number of reasons. One of the reasons was in one of the reports I read, it said 80% of the revenue in this company is from student fees. These are fees that were from students. And then when I read some other documentation here, it said only 50% of their revenue is from student fees. So I'm not sure which is the accurate information about that. I also want to make sure that with any one of the, I know we have this contract with Hire One because they administer our financial aid monies and they make it much easier. And as you said in your report, it makes the students get their monies much more rapidly and quickly, and is desirable because of that. Plus, we don't have to do it, so it takes that out of our hands of our financial aid departments. But I also want to make sure that the institutions must put students' interests first before anything else. So I want to make sure our students aren't being gouged or aren't being in any way. The students get the best deal. And also, I've been reading about it, and a lot of students, it was hard for me to believe this, but a lot of students, when they come to community college, haven't really established a relationship with a bank yet and don't really know much about banking. So it's one of our opportunities to teach the students how to manage their monies, their financial aid monies, how to deal with it. And when the students get the Hire One cards, like the Saddleback College, it says Saddleback College on the Hire One card. It's like a debit card. It's a debit and credit card. So on the Saddleback College one, it says Saddleback College on that card. And on the Irvine Valley card, it says Irvine Valley College on their debit credit card. So the students think, they don't know it's another company. They think it's coming from our college, and they think, they have to use this card because it somehow supports their college. It's like school spirit or something like that. So I want to make sure, there's several questions I have. One of the things, as I looked up, when institutions are seeking vendors to do these services, we have to have a competitive bidding process. And we should actually have, I'll ask some questions, and then I'll come back with these.
Okay.
Number one, how long is our contract with Hire One right now?
Good evening. Thank you for inviting me tonight. My name is Christian Alvarado. I'm Director of Financial Aid. Contracts with Hire One are for 3 years. Saddleback just renewed their contract a few months ago, so for another 3 years.
Was there any competitive bidding? Did we ask for any other companies to come to bid for us when we renewed the contract?
We did not seek bids for the renewal, no.
Why not, actually?
Good question. It just wasn't something that we plan on doing because of the service that they're offering. One thing that I do know is that through negotiated rulemaking, the Department of Education just formed an advisory committee that is looking into the fees with Hire One, so that there will be a committee that's looking at Hire One. So there should be something in place fairly soon. I'm thinking by July 2015 they will have that information. At the same time, we can continue to look at the fees that Hire One has for our students. One of the major fees that controversial is the use of the PIN. Each time they swipe and use the PIN, there's a 50-cent fee.
50-cent charge, right? Yeah, and I understand that there's always a 50-cent fee every time that the students have to swipe the cards, but there's a way that they don't have to be charged the fees if they know what to do. So we have to let our students know what to do. Also, that if the students don't use the ATM card, there's one at each college, that they're charged an additional fee for not using that that particular ATM. So I want to make sure that that ATM card is open to students, particularly at the time of the year when the students are actually getting their monies from financial aid, to make sure that there's not a long line there, and they can get access to these ATM cards. Now, when does the contract for Hire One come due at Irvine Valley College?
We have our contract the same time, 3 years. But Trustee Milchiker, if you would give me an opportunity, I'd like to go back and just address some of the questions or statements that you made during your opening statement about Hire One. Mm-hmm. 10 years ago, it is true that most community colleges, 60 of us now who are using the Hire One services, were looking for an opportunity to be more efficient and effective in dispersing our Hire One, our financial aid. And Hire One was one of the first financial institutions to come forward who had a working relationship with the Department of Education, who understood financial aid rules and regulations, to be able to receive our disbursements and then transfer them to our students. Many of our students, as you said, have never had a checking account, and this was an opportunity for them to establish an account in their name. Prior to Hire One coming on board, many of our students would take their financial aid checks, which could be upwards in the amount of $1,200 each, and go to a checking advance company and pay 10% of their check just to get their check cashed because they didn't have a financial institution that they could deal with. Over the course of the time that we've been working with Hire One, they have built in marketing programs to educate students on managing their money and establishing accounts, financial accounts that they never would have had before. It is a checking account, not a credit account, and they use a debit card. And we do encourage our students each time they make a transaction with their card that they use it as a credit card so they won't get that debit fee charge of 50 cents that you were referring to. We found Hire One to be a very credible firm. We've also know that they have a very good working relationship and is supported by the Department of Education. They work with them closely for Title IV funds in understanding the regulations for dispersing financial aid accounts. I know there have been a lot of articles that have been written questioning Hire One. I would just speak to my own experience at prior institutions. We did go out and do a bid, a competitive bid. We went to local credit unions. We went to Bank of America and Wells Fargo Bank. And actually, they told us, we don't know financial aid regulations. We don't know federal financial aid regulations. This institution is in a position to do this better than we are. And so we awarded our services to Hire One. I don't know that has been done in this district, but it's something that we did open up and do in other districts.
Well, I discussed this with Brian Dickinson, who's the senior program manager from the California Student Aid Commission, and he sent me 2 reports, the U.S. Public Interest Research Group report and another report on debit cards, campus debit cards, and it says, the report's called Our Campus Debit Cards Trap Our Bank Partnerships Fair to Students. And another one is the compilation of best practices for campuses when you investigate debit cards for their financial aid disbursements for the colleges. So he really said to me that we have to find out, because when I called him and asked him and talked about it, he said you have to find out when these contracts are coming due and just demand that you go out to bid. Don't just take hire one, so you get different proposals, because he said new companies are being formed all the time. Now, maybe just not the local credit unions, but he said new companies are being formed all the time. And then as I read about it, it said that you really should have students on these committees when they study which of these cards to use. I guess we don't have an opportunity to change this for another 3 years. Then is that correct? Because we're in these contracts for 3 years. Is that true?
That's what it sounds like.
Okay. So. When the contract comes due, I want 3 to 5 vendors to talk about it. I also want you to look at these cards, because I understand some of the charges that are somewhat controversial. There's a charge if you don't use the card for a while, and suddenly the student one of the students was talking about had $100 charges on his bill without knowing why. So if you don't use the charge for a while, if there's an overdraft, there's an extra charge. Let's see what else. So, card replacement fees, if you lose your card, it's a $20 fee. Inactivity fees, overdraft fees. So, I think these things are all really, really important to look into. And I'm going to ask for another report on financial aid maybe in a few months. But this is about the higher one. And I would suggest we look at it and make sure we let our students know what these fees are and make sure our students aren't charged these fees. Because the most important thing is making it fair for our students. Thank you.
Okay. Trustee Jemal.
Yes. Thank you for your written report. I had a couple of questions follow up on with Trustee Milchiker's questions. In your written report, you said that Hire One is saving the South Orange County Community College District money, and then you estimate the savings at $11,000, $560 in 2012, 2013. Where did these savings come from?
Savings come mainly from staffing, and these are totals that came from the district office. There would be additional savings also to the colleges, because they would require time to either hand out the checks or to mail them by staff.
So when you say savings, are you compared to what?
Can I
Sorry.
speak to that, please?
Yeah.
Okay. A couple things. The savings that were referred to in the report were for the district services accounting department. By issuing manual checks to all of our students who are on financial aid, which is most every student, we're talking about paper checks and the time that it takes within the various departments to do the processing, and also the time it takes for staff time to do this work. It's all manual. In addition, it also doesn't include savings at the colleges because of the work that has to be done to prepare that information prior to getting to district services accounting. So that's staff time that's in this particular number. I want to point out that when we did manual checks to students, they had to be mailed. There was mailing costs as well. Students didn't always receive their checks. Then we had to duplicate checks and reissue checks for students. When we did a manual processing, before this firm was selected through an RFP process, by the way, it was a competitive process that occurred. We're talking about students' time to get the checks that they needed their financial aid. They needed the funds to start the semester, and was very long into the semester by the time they got their dollars. And so they had to go, and it was a burden on the students during the first few weeks of semester before they got their financial aid, which they needed for books, for their living expenses, etc. So the purpose of doing the RFP at the time that the district had done that was prior to my role, was the intent was to help students get money into their hands quicker so that they can get started and it wasn't a burden and distraction for them to start their education.
So thank you for that. You mentioned that, I think something about Hire One providing some kind of, you didn't say it this way, but financial literacy education or something like that. But yet in the Orange County Register it was reported that many students say the company is actually trying to mislead them into activating the debit card and opening a corresponding checking account, which costs students, I guess not necessarily the district, but students hundreds of dollars in fees. So how do you address that? Can you speak to that issue? And is Hire One combating this misleading information that's taking place by providing some kind of financial literacy to our students?
One of the things that that I realized and learned from this process is that education on Hire One is key. And some of the things that we're doing at Saddleback, and I believe we're also going to be doing it at Irvine, is every Wednesday we have a financial aid workshop called Fast for Wednesdays. And this is an opportunity for students to come in and apply for financial aid. We've added the Hire One piece to these workshops every Wednesday. So students are coming in and we're explaining to them the options with Hire One. Another piece that we're adding next fall semester for new financial aid students, we're establishing an orientation for students that we'll be going over the financial aid processes, how to apply, how to maintain financial aid in terms of academic progress. But we're also incorporating a budgeting piece, a financial literacy piece to that workshop, and as well to all of our workshops we're adding the Hire One piece. One of their options in activating that in selecting a preference is not really in activating the card. The card is necessary to select a preference, whether it's to open an account, to do ACH into their own checking account, or to do a check. But a lot of it we understand is educating our students, and to continue to educate our students, not just when we had the initial push to roll out the program. It needs to continue, and we're committed to doing that.
So can you say that with certainty that Hire One is not misleading our students into activating the debit card?
I would like to speak on our behalf that we try and teach them as much as possible, and we'll be doing that more. Before students can activate their card, and they're going to open an account, they have to sign off to indicate that they're aware of the fees that go along with opening an account.
Okay. I have some here. So, I mean, these didn't exist when I went to school, and I dealt with financial aid and survived. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's a pain, but you mentioned it. It is possible to have your own checking account and have financial aid directly deposited into a checking account and learn to manage it yourself and avoid many of these fees and not have us have to contract with a company, because we may be saving $11,000, but I'm pretty sure we're probably spending more than $11,000 to contract with a company to do this. This is one of those tough positions that we're in, where we're supposed to be fiduciary responsible with the public's money and save where we can, but we also serve the students. And I have a serious concern that, the statement was made, we're saving them 10% from going to a check cashing service, but they're paying more than 10% in the fees if they get dinged a couple of times. And, I'm sure I'd like to hear from Student Trustee Robinson is requesting to speak, but I'd almost like to hear from our Saddleback president. But this is something that obviously is a concern of this board and other boards, and it's in the paper, and it's beyond what's the report. Even without reading the report, you got to know that there's already a contradictory in statement when they say it's a debit card, but then we have to tell them to run it as a credit card to avoid a 50-cent fee to use it the way it's supposed to be used. That seems to me completely asinine. And I don't care who hears it from that company, but they need to figure something out to not charge kids 50 cents a fee to use the card the way they're told it's supposed to be used. And we shouldn't have to be the ones that educate the students and have meetings every week on FAFSA to tell them how to use a bank account that's charging them these exorbitant fees. And I just have a real issue with that. And I guess my one question is, what happens when they leave here, whether they go on to another institution or not? Are they now sucked into a new credit card? They're going off into the world, and they know nothing about how to manage a credit card because the money just magically appears for them. And I just have some real concerns about that. So can you answer that last question about whether or not do they wind up keeping this card when they leave, or does it shut down when their financial aid is done?
It does shut down after a period of inactivity, and when they're no longer considered financial aid students. I'm not exactly sure how long that takes at this point. They did have a non-usage fee, but that has gone away as well. So that fee has gone away.
Okay. Student Trustee Robinson.
Yes, on Exhibit A, Attachment A, you have a list of California community colleges that currently use Hire One services. I'm personally aware that there are several colleges listed on here that are considering no longer using Hire One. And the main reason is that the contract that Hire One requires the colleges to sign is the demand and incurred for the demand for the schools to encourage students to use the card, and the demand is rather vague. It doesn't say anything about books. It doesn't say anything about specific education use. In fact, the Orange County Register watchdog discovered a passage on one of our district colleges' websites saying, whether it's groceries at the supermarket or new jeans at the Gap, the easiest way to pay for it is with your card, Hire One card. And that really gives me a lot of concern because the students should be first. And, it seems like maybe there's a gap in the financial responsibility education or training. But would you like to speak to the contract specifically requiring the administration or certain officials to be required to promote the use of the card and how that is being addressed?
Personally, I've gone through the contract, and it doesn't obligate us to promote the use of the card. In fact, I think we were obligated to inform the students inform them about the choices that they do have. That article that was written, that actual website is not housed within our district. That's a website that is with Hire One, and I had never seen that. And upon learning that website, I did contact Hire One, and that has been removed. But that was never part of our domain within South Orange County or Saddleback.
Okay, thank you. And you do plan on making students more aware of, through training and financial education of these fees? Because if you, let's say, as you mentioned, you have $1,200, but then if you have, 10 or 20% in fees, that really makes a huge dent in your ability to buy books and et cetera.
Yes, the plan is to continue to educate our students slowly but surely. For example, right now, every single student that applies for a student loan at Saddleback, we require them to do it's an online financial literacy module where they learn about budgeting, but we're moving that to the campus so that we're actually speaking to students about how to budget their monies.
Okay, thank you.
But you are going to address the specific Hire One fees, is that correct?
That is correct.
Great, thank you.
Trustee Lang.
Not to completely beat this horse to death, but I think the one issue I had was on attachment C, where we're talking about the district savings from using Hire One. Well, that's, I guess, a little confusing. I don't know. That's not the right word. But I don't think we are looking at administering this program ourselves. We're just trying to determine which organizations are the best out there. And obviously, we've identified Hire One as being one of many organizations that offer this kind of service. This is something that we would administer on our own. It seems to me that we would contract this out in any event. It's just a matter between Hire One and what other organizations exist out there that may be, doing a better or worse job than they are. So I'm not, unless I'm missing something on the analysis here in attachment C. Are one of you Betty McClellan?
No, Betty works in our district accounting office, and the colleges requested this from our office, so it was provided to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
It wasn't intended to say that we'd take it over.
Yeah. Good.
Okay. Hearing no other requests to speak, thank you very much for your time. Didn't mean to put you on the hot seat there, but. Okay, so next we have report 7.2. This was requested by Trustee Jemal, report on campus security cameras. And with this, we do have a presentation.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Chris Wilkinson, Saddleback College Police Department. And from Irvine Valley to introduce themselves when we start on the presentation. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas, and congratulations on voting each other into the new president and vice president and on and on. So this is our opportunity to share with you, and I appreciate the opportunity to provide you with this because I've seen a paradigm in the past 30 years, and I've actually used cameras at the other community college and districts that I've been part of. And part of this in front of you in your book, you have the actual write-up, and I can ask her any questions toward the end of the presentation. But I'd like to share with you, this was the opportunity that took a year to about a year and a half to get to where we're at today. And the opportunity was to find a solution, a good solution for the district and the colleges. And with the changing technologies that now have come forth, we were in a really good position to go out and use this technology as a tool. I was personally had the opportunity about a 4.5 month audit, vetting the vendors, asking them what is good for our district and what is good for our students and our campuses. And in doing that, we were able to go ahead and come up with this viable solution that would actually help us with the, wasn't my phone. No. So the public safety cameras, and that's what we call them, public safety cameras. And here's the opportunity that we can actually use them in real time. And in my career, I've been able to use these type of tools, technologies in real time that's actually helped us solve cases, helped us deter crimes. Actually, I've used them to manage emergency management, and here's our opportunity to use them here in the district and in the colleges, and provide a deterrent for individuals who want to come to our district or come to our campus. These are the ones that feel like they're going to come here to do a property crime, but when you see these cameras are posted, you see the verbiage, you see the signage, they want to go somewhere else. And what a dynamic is happening in our state now, it's called AB 109. The early release of individuals right now, the massive early release of individuals, and everybody is a potential victim at this point because they are releasing them out of county jails and state prisons, and they're coming back into the communities. We have a tool now that will augment to help all of us to provide a better and safer community or community college and district. So that's another opportunity that we have to work with the cameras. And also to go on to the situation of prior deployment of personnel. I've personally been able to use this the past 3 months. The biggest part is the starting of the fall semester where we have gridlock and bumper to bumper. We've been able to use this tool to send officers and support staff out to help divert and traffic enforcement or traffic flow. So it's a very good tool. We can send our assets directly there without asking you have to go out and send somebody, then you have to come back or call us. So it's been very effective on that. Assist in gathering evidence on criminal and civil. I have personal experience in doing that. We've had success stories in our college here within this past year that we've used in a criminal case that got a conviction of individuals that come on our campus, and this was very useful in that criminal case. Activity at highly sensitive areas in Central Plant. We have to harden, in today's society, we have to harden our infrastructure. We can't put an employee there all the time, but we can have this type of tool that can be there 24/7 that actually will give us the opportunity to see what the issue may be. And then projected installation and maintenance costs. I was tasked, and we were all tasked, we were given guidance. We were asked, what is the best solution for us? The exciting part was everybody wants your business. But when I go to them and I get to vet these vendors, and I get to tell them, these are the solutions we're looking for. And of course, they try the sales pitch. I said, these are the solutions. We were able to identify a solution that was phenomenal, up to date, 21st century, and expandable. There was two other issues prior to us that we could use this for. One was the hearing impaired. In this software we have tools that they're actually out now with this particular software we can use for that type of diverse demographics of that, because there's software that will accommodate those kind of uses for the hearing impaired, safety, personal safety, panic alarms. All this is built into this particular solution we actually identified. And then another nice thing is that when they come to us and everybody wants to sell you the video management software, there's a lot of cost incurred. For this particular vendor or solution that we went with, as you see your slide up there, these following camera license could average $135 to $185, no cost. We don't pay an annual fee. And then if you look at the Microsoft server, that was included, which is the Microsoft. And then the video managed software usually is $2,300 to $3,500, no cost. The software was provided to us. Phenomenal software, turnkey. And then also a 3-year camera. Of course, you talk about maintenance and upkeep. We have a 3-year service agreement free. Camera goes bad, we take it down, put it in a box, UPS, they fix the camera. Fantastic. So we actually were able, and what's nice, it all works. It works phenomenal. And it really has helped us to actually provide a safer environment for our students, staff, faculty, board members, and everyone else that comes to visit us. I'd like to turn it over here to Anthony. And this was a transparent thing. This was a collaborative effort of all parties involved. And I'd like to turn it over to Anthony to answer this one.
Good evening. Anthony Maciel, Director of IT at Saddleback. And when it comes to the access and storage of recorded data, we have 2 servers that are holding this information. And we have individual rights set for each person. So some of them will only have read rights. Other people have read and view rights. Myself and Chris here are the only ones that have that kind of access. In terms of storage, this data is retained for 90 days and then it gets deleted. And also, when it's exported out of there, it has a watermark. So therefore, if anybody tries to tamper with the data, you'll be able to know that it is being tampered. So when it comes to that, it's very secure. So those are the 2 areas of access and storage.
Thank you for the opportunity to address the board on this important topic. I'm going to briefly touch on the management data with regard to privacy and personal liberties and how we go about that. At this point in time, the board has not approved the policy, and there are no administrative regulations in place to deal with this. But within our police departments, we do have, within our rules and regulations, our policy manual, a policy that actually addresses these issues. We are using this primarily for, obviously, the security and to make sure that we have a safe and secure environment on campus, to be used for deterrence, to be used for apprehending suspects after crime, criminal investigations, and also for the aspect and application for emergency services and being able to monitor a situation as it develops following a disaster. Our intent is to install cameras with signage as was shown on the previous slides so that it's not secret. We're not planning on doing something covert. We want it to be very obvious. We see that as a deterrent effect. Furthermore, that information or that data that is collected would be stored for a year, which is, we think, sufficient time to be able to make it available for any potential criminal prosecutions and so forth, so it's not lost. We would provide training for those that would be monitoring that, and you should know that we won't be monitoring those 24/7. It's a data storage system, and we'd be able to go back and monitor those cameras, and we could monitor if we wanted to real time. But that is not the idea, to have somebody sitting there and watching on a regular basis. We're very much concerned and very understanding of the individual concerns about privacy, and that is another thing that's addressed in that policy. Specifically, we're talking about public areas, and those are the areas we want to monitor. The data itself would only be released with regard to another government agency pursuant to subpoenas and actually being reviewed by counsel for the district. And the other example would be by public records requests for information. And then again, those would only be releasing data that would be required by law, and with the exception if that information is being used for an ongoing criminal investigation. I think that pretty much that's that particular aspect of it.
What you see in front of you is another feature of the software that we were able to incorporate. This is actually from our binder we keep, and we were actually able to import our actual floor plans. So picture this in the software, and if you see the little icons there, those little green icons, we actually take a mouse and we import where the cameras are. And what's exciting about this for emergency preparedness, officer safety, student faculty safety, or responding to any type of emergency, this is live. So we can take the mouse and put it over, and in that little black box in the right-hand corner, the live shot of that image will come up and we can see it. And the exciting thing is that we just did a road trip up to EOC up in Orange County. We can provide this secure type of information to the individuals there, that if we have a major disaster, they would be able to, if the cameras are still working, they can see what we see. So we can actually have situational awareness and send the resources where we need them at the right time. And so this feature comes with it too, and what we do is we personally have to upload this, which is Anthony, his staff is doing an excellent job. So we're taking these sources and migrating them into, and all this is no cost to us. It's a phenomenal vendor at this point, a very good solution, and it's working very well for our needs right now. The management, privacy upheld, we just talked about that. One of my jobs in my background, I was a contract instructor for Department of Justice out of Sacramento. I used to instruct in discrete body wires, soft body, and discrete wiring, and wearing cameras and that. So I used to know the Fourth Amendment by word. I used to be able to repeat it. But I can tell you there's 54 words in it, and I very understand that. And again, this software comes with a feature called, and it actually is called a privacy zone. We literally can actually create a box on the software to either block out a screen, block out a hallway, block out a doorway, anything that's considered to be private and higher awareness for privacy. The software, we can do that too. So that's built into this. So these are the things when I vetted the VMS companies or vendors, it was very hard for them. The video management software, it was very hard for them because I asked them a lot of questions based on the support of the president, the vice president, everybody else. So I think we got a good tool here, and it's working very well. And there's some, at the very end of your package and last, there's some reference ARs. Saddleback alone has 25 locations that are supposed to have, and technically, cameras in this part. We do now have them at 3 ATM machines. So the cameras are actually, can see the ATM machines, and we're trying to work on that. And the paradigm is, I want to be next, I want this one, I want that, and we've got a waiting list. But I hope we answered your questions. Thank you, and are there any questions?
Trustee Jemal.
Yes, thank you very much for your presentation. Appreciate you coming this evening. I'm 100% supportive of the concept of installing security cameras as a tool to both prevent crimes from occurring in the first place, but also to help solve crimes. And I completely agree with you as well that signage, conspicuous signage, is very important because you want it to be known that these cameras are in place. And I think there's empirical evidence to prove that this is an effective tool. We also have fiduciary responsibility as a board. So I had, about 21 questions. I will not ask all of them. But I have 2 or 3 cost-related questions to ask you. So would you say it's $1,325 per camera? Can you give the board a sense of what this is going to, what this will cost us, how many cameras? Because Bill Gates didn't become who he is by selling free software. So I'm curious how the Microsoft, licensing fees and how that plays into this, because at some point they're getting paid by someone, somehow. So
You're absolutely, excellent question. You're absolutely right, but South Orange County is not paying them. Then the point is this. When you say $1,325, that's in the labor, the maintenance cost, and it depends on the camera. We have cameras that could be $600, cameras are $300, and when we took the total value, the total money, and we averaged it over how much it would cost to put in a camera. So we came up, the current system, about $1,325 per camera, but we have some cameras that are $600, some cameras that are $300. And then the labor for actually installing it, which was, again, using the meet and confer and the quotes, we came up with an excellent, excellent vendor that provided us an excellent service. For this, to answer your question directly, we have about 47 cameras, and there was always cameras on campus that didn't belong to us, but they belong to vendors. It's always been installed on camera. Probably about 200 cameras for Saddleback, and what we're able to do is it could be quite a bit more, but when you have 200 acres, right, and over 600,000 square feet, and you have to worry about a district and maybe put them at ATEP. The advantage we have, we can take one camera and cover a wide area now. The features on the camera, so when we purchase the hardware, the cameras, we go by features. And I can get into the technology of it, but we were able to install one camera that covered the intersections, the grassy area, parts of the parking lot, instead of having to install 3 or 4 cameras. So we've looked at that as an alternative. So it's moving quite fast.
So when you, sorry,
no, go ahead.
When you say you have a vendor, was this something we bid out? I'm just trying to get a sense of what's already been done and then what prospectively is planned.
I was waiting for that question. Excellent question. I've been doing this since February. I physically met with the video management softwares. I sat down with each of the companies, and I asked them what we needed, what we wanted, and what we don't want. And every one of them talked about the cost of the site license is going to cost this. Video management software, we're going to cost this. If you want this feature, it's going to cost you this. Then when I get to this vendor, our solution we have now, no cost, no cost, no cost, no cost. And because of that, we were able to go with it and get an excellent product, an excellent tool. And it offers the same as the other vendors, but they want to charge us quite a bit. And believe it or not, some of the features we would never use. And what it is, it's either all or non, a la carte is what they call it. Well, I don't need features 1 through 20. I need features 1 through 5. Well, you got to buy all of them. So it came down to what vendor meets our needs based on what we need for this district. And we were able to come up with a viable vendor and gave everybody the opportunity. So I met them, and we even had a couple vendors fly out here.
So there was a bidding process.
It was tough.
Okay.
I need to speak on this to make sure there's clarity on this. There wasn't a formal RFP process for this selection. It did not go through a procurement process.
Okay.
So if there is a need for 200 cameras, that's over $200,000. We will have to go through that process.
Yeah. Just a couple more questions, and then I know the hour is getting late, but this is really important. I mean, doing this is important, but we have to make sure that the policy, my understanding is we don't have a policy on it.
No, we don't. No.
Okay. So a couple more IT-related questions. Will the installation and server integration be completed by internal staff, or if not, by whom?
It was actually a turnkey solution. This is one of the best solutions that I've seen while I've been working in IT, where the vendor came in and set it all up for us. And what we did is one of my IT guys worked with them so that they can learn how to operate the system. But basically, the whole integration was done by the vendor.
Okay. And then regarding evidence, you mentioned that, which I think is important. How will the data be stored for long-term evidence, and is there a chain of custody to indicate a standard operating procedure?
You know, I'll just speak to the data. I mean, it's kept there for 90 days, and
okay.
so it's deleted after that. But as far as the chain of or the evidence, you might want to.
That's an excellent question. and I can help with drafting the policy.
I'll submit the rest to you in writing.
Thank you. The evidence policy is actually in our books, in our departments. I've used it for over 30 years, and it applies to not just media. We have secure lockdown, we have chain of custody, we have envelopes, we have data that is actually secure with only so many people can actually have access to it. And then with the watermarks and everything, and it goes off to the DA, and it's all just one person either carries it or one signs to the other. And it's actually the government code and the evidence code we must abide by in our profession. We have no choice. It's very structured, it's very meticulous, and we have a policy and procedure on how to handle evidence all the way through the process.
So, thank you. One more question. I think the infrastructure we have, our network infrastructure, my assumption is the increased use of video is going to put some strains on the network. And
yeah, there's a few things that we're actually doing with that. One of the things that we did is we put a VLAN, so it's a virtual local area network that divides up that traffic just by itself and keeps it away from the other. That's one of the things that we're doing to address that. And the other is that we're changing all of our backbone infrastructure. One, we're putting airborne fiber, and two, we're changing all of our switching so that we can do gigabyte over to the desktop and also 10 gig in between the core. So that should address those concerns of bandwidth.
Thank you.
I just had one, if you don't mind, I forgot to mention the diversity of the software and the solution now. The officers now have the images on their smartphones and iPads and on the computers in their patrol cars. So we pushed it out to the field, so it actually has been very beneficial on swings and graveyards, and it's an excellent tool. And if you can train a cop, you can train anybody, and they know how to use it very well. Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay. Trustee Lang.
Yes, very quickly. It's been mentioned a couple of times now that we don't have a policy in place on this specifically. So I'm wondering where we're at in that process in terms of developing board policy or administrative regs. Is BPARC met on this issue? What's going on there?
BPARC has not met on the issue. The colleges are going to bring that forward to the committee when it's ready. Both colleges work together on a proposed language, and then BPARC gets it, reviews it, and goes through the process.
Okay, and I'm assuming all of that is supposed to happen before we actually buy the cameras. What's the timing of this?
If we're purchasing more cameras, we'll have to go through a formal RFP process like we do with all of our procurements of this size.
I understand the RFP process, but not the timing of the...
Timing, it's up to the colleges how they want to proceed and what the timing was, but I think Chancellor's advising we have a policy in place prior to doing further work on this.
Okay, thank you.
Student Trustee Robinson.
Yes, I'm very supportive of providing greater safety and security to students and personnel at the district. I had one question concerning evening and night school students. Do you see this expansion of this tool as benefiting night and evening students and as well as faculty and staff that teach in the evenings?
Excellent question. We currently have installed cameras, I call them BIs. They're actually infrared. So at night it takes the ambient light and the camera picks up all the ambient light in low light areas. So they're staged in areas. Excellent question. So I've been able to take a camera, a day-use camera, and incorporate it just down with a camera that has light sensitive, that has these infrared lights that pushes the beam out and it absorbs it. And yes, we did incorporate that. The current ones we have right now.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Seeing no more requests to speak, thank you very much for your presentation. Okay, next we have 7.3, listing of speakers. Are there any comments or questions on that? Hearing none. 7.4, basic aid report.
No changes since last month.
Okay. 7.5, facilities plan status report. 7.6, monthly financial status report. 7.7, trust fund. All right. Next we have reports from administration and governance groups. Saddleback College Academic Senate.
Dan Walsh, Saddleback College Academic Senate President. My report will be brief only because the longer report was on my laptop and the battery died. This is finals week, and it's a busy time for all the faculty, and students can appreciate that as well, but we still have to grade everything afterwards. Our next meeting will be the beginning of the new semester, and I'll be telling you that it's a busy time for us then. Then I realized that, my God, we're busy throughout the year. I look forward to seeing many of you during in-service the week of January 14th, our what we call Flex Week. The activities, you should have all been notified of the schedule for that week. Chancellor Portner indicated earlier our college meeting last week to work towards better cooperation and communication. I'm really happy to see the college moving forward in that way, trying to improve the relationship between faculty and administration. Just today I was involved with trying to put out a few fires and met with the VPI, some deans, and it was an effective way to just figure out what's going on. It was face-to-face and no email banter going back and forth and name-calling. So it worked. So I'm very happy to see that the college is moving forward in that way. And that's it. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Faculty Association.
Good evening. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge Trustee Padberg, although she isn't here to hear it, for her service as board president. I'd like to congratulate the newly elected officers. It doesn't seem that long ago that Professor Lee Haggerty and I heard about this guy from Tustin who might be interested in running for our board. Here we are 3 years later, and I'd say that's working out pretty well. So congratulations on your election as president of the board. I would like to extend an invitation to all of you to attend the luncheon that this faculty association will sponsor during Flex Week on January 15th at 11 a.m. at in the cafeteria at Saddleback College. And finally, we are busy preparing for contract negotiations. We've completed our faculty survey. Our results will be used to prepare our Sunshine proposal, which we will unveil in March. And happy holidays to everyone.
Thank you. IVC College, or IVC Academic Senate. You are not Kathy Schmeiler.
I am not. I'm Rupa Mather, Academic Affairs Chair. Good evening, everyone. Just at IVC, we want to wish everybody a relaxing and enjoyable winter break.
Thank you. Next, we have Associate Vice Chancellor, Economic Development. He's not here. Then we have Vice Chancellor, Technology and Learning Services, Bob
No
Amici.
report.
No report. Vice Chancellor, Human Resources.
In the variation of the poem by Clement Clark Moore, happy holidays to all and to all a good night.
All right. Vice Chancellor, Business Services.
I just want to remind the board that at the January board meeting, we are going to have the results of the RFP process for the HR and financial system software. It was quite an extensive and lengthy, probably the most lengthy process I've been involved in ever in my career, over a year long, with business process analysis and extensive participation. So we'll have a presentation on January to go through not only the contracts, but what the project's going to be, which will kick off in February, and be an 18-month implementation schedule in which we'll have HR, benefits, payroll, purchasing, and many other areas, all electronic, and a lot of efficiencies and a lot of improvement. So more to come in January, but I'm just giving you a taste of what you're going to hear then. Thank you.
All right. Next, we have Irvine Valley College Classified Senate.
Good evening, sir. Congratulations for your new appointment. In case you don't recognize me, I was the big blue Santa at the holiday party last week. Thank you. That was a lot of fun, and I just want to take a moment to thank all the classified employees this past year that participated in the shared governance process. I appreciate all their help. Thank you.
CSEA President.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report, but on behalf of CSEA, we want to wish everyone a great winter holiday break and a fantastic 2014.
Thank you. Then we have Associate Student Government of Saddleback.
Good evening, President-elect Dennis Stahelski. From the Classified Senate of Saddleback College, we would just like to wish you all a happy and safe holiday season.
I misspoke who was next. Sorry. Now we have Associate Student Government of Saddleback College.
Thank you.
3 items to share with you today. The Saddleback College Associate Student Government has served as the student body to gather data on the student opinion with the college's smoking policy and also the college cafeteria. We've received over 1,059 responses. We'll be taking our results and recommendations to the College Consultation Council. Second, we have endorsed the renovation project of the Saddleback College Stadium. And third, we have endorsed Saddleback College application for the community college pathway to law school. Lastly, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the board, President Burnett, and the Saddleback College staff, our academic and classified senate for their continued support of our student government over the last semester. Thank you and happy holidays.
Thank you. Seeing no other representatives, I believe we get to adjourn. Happy holidays.